On November 26, 2024, a Lake County, Florida Sheriff's Deputy Tristan Macomber was driving his patrol vehicle with no seatbelt on, looking at inappropriate pictures and watching inappropriate videos, and possibly playing with himself when he rear-ended a car that was stopped for a school bus. First, we're going to take a look at the body camera footage of the accident, and then we're going to look at his internal affairs interview. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and let's get right to it.
Attention, 911 assist is turned off. Therefore, 911 assist call will not be made by sync. Attention, 911 assist is turned off. Therefore, 911 assist call will not be made by sync.
2980 County, 65 Signal 4.
2988.
You can use Creston and County Road 435. I'm going to be involved. There's going to be Signal 16. So, 10-4.
Watch how Deputy Macomber has to grab his phone off of the floorboard after he gets out of his wrecked patrol vehicle. Also, check out that seatbelt, how it's already strapped in and he was sitting on top of it and not wearing it the proper way.
Yeah, that sucked. Yeah, I'm good. Hello, ma'am. Are you okay? I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
My brain's locked up.
Okay.
You good?
I was like, oh my goodness, wait. Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Do you just want to pull up right
should I
here?
pull for more? Okay.
Just to make sure you're out of the turn lane.
Yeah.
Just make sure you're out of the turn lane.
So you're aware that camera's on the recording.
Yes, sir.
So we'll housekeeping first, or actually this one. You'll kind of read it as I read it to you, and then as we get to a question, you'll mark yes or no, and then put your initials beside it, okay? It is November 20th, 2024 at approximately 0741 hours. I'm Sergeant Gary Abbott with the Lake County Sheriff's Office, Internal Affairs Unit. Present at this time is Deputy Tristan Macomber, who is a listed subject officer of this administrative investigation. We are currently conducting this interview at the Office of Professional Standards in reference to IA case number 2455. The complaint alleges that you made false statements to your supervisor concerning a vehicle accident. The complaint further alleges that you were not wearing your seatbelt during the incident. You were also allegedly looking at images on your cell phone during the incident or accident. During this questioning, even if you do disclose anything which indicates you may be guilty of criminal conduct, neither the self-incriminating statements nor the fruits of any self-incriminating statements will be used against you in any criminal legal proceedings, except for perjury or obstruction of justice charges. If you refuse to answer my questions, this in itself is a violation of the rules and procedures of the office, and you will be subject to disciplinary action, which may include dismissal. All statements made by you will be considered an official report. So the first question we got, are you currently on duty?
Yes.
So mark just right yes, and then put your initials beside it. To your knowledge, have you been given all documentations in regard to the complaint, to include the complaint, all witness statements, all other existing subject officer statements, all other existing evidence, including but not limited to incident reports, GPS locator information, and audio or video recording related to the incident under investigation?
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to provide is true?
Yes, sir.
Yes on there and initial it for me. And then that next line, you'll print your name in. You'll read that statement out loud and sign and date it for me, please.
So it states as such, I, Tristan Macomber, by my signature below, affirm that I have been advised of the administrative notification and do solemnly swear that the testimony I'm about to provide is true. And then I sign right here.
Yes, right. And it's the 20th of November.
I put a lot of dates recently. That's paperwork.
And there's a copy of just what you signed, so you have it for records.
If not, my wife will kill me. She's a huge paper freak. Should see how far I've got it.
Just put on there that it's a copy, that's all.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
All right, man, you had a chance to review everything that was in the folder?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll open the floor up to you and let you make any kind of statements you want, and then based on that, we'll go into kind of any questions I have.
Okay. So on the 6th, I was involved in a vehicle accident on 435 in Creston. Prior to that accident, I did get off the phone with Deputy Hoffman. We were planning, I needed to urinate. Weird. And we were planning on a place to meet up. He had a training. We were going to go over some stuff and then go on our next plan. After I got off the phone with Hoffman, I did have my personal phone in my hand. I was looking at inappropriate pictures. The reason for that is there's no excuse. It was my fault. I'm not trying to put any excuses. My therapist a long time ago said there's no excuse for anything. There's only consequences with whatever choice you make, good, neutral, and negative.
Absolutely.
So, with that, I was looking at inappropriate pictures. 2024 has been probably the roughest year to date in my 28 years of existence on this earth. Okay. So since then, I've been dealing with a lot, not only both in the work life of doing this job. I love doing this job, and look forward to doing it every day. To the best that I can. Not everyone's happy necessarily where they're at.
Right.
But that's understandable. It's work.
How long have you been with us now, Bob?
I started April 5th of 2021. Yes, 2021. So I moved here in 2020.
Over 3 years.
Yeah, this is my April 5th of next year will be my fourth year.
And had you prior law enforcement, or is this your first?
No, I did Section 8 security for government contracted housing for Dallas-Fort Worth. I did that for quite some time, putting in, anywhere from 50 to 70 plus hour work weeks. So that was fun. I got to work with a lot of law enforcement and see how they work and whatnot. And then both me and my buddy are kind of gun gurus and tactical gurus. So we try to take the job a lot more serious than some of the other guys, which made us the team to go to.
Gotcha.
When anything that the boss needed to get done, he called us.
Gotcha.
So from there, I'll get back to the incident that occurred. When I was looking at inappropriate pictures, I then looked up from my phone, observed the blue Toyota passenger car in front of me, and the bus that was in the opposite lane coming at me, but it had activated the emergency lights for the dropping of kids. At that time, I did apply the brakes the best I could. The roads were wet. It was raining that day, and there was lights on the dash of the not check engine. It was the ABS and traction control. So when I did stop, even though there was going to be no time for me to stop, they did lock up, which didn't allow my tires to actually turn. We just went over that in cat school yesterday. It was understeer. Just when the tires turn and you just keep going straight. And so I impacted the rear of the Toyota.
Okay. So you've been honest right now, okay? So, but you know the actual allegation against you or policy violation is departure from the truth. So I'm going to go through each thing and basically get what your mindset was when you put down either what you wrote or what you told Sergeant Wallace.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you wrote your original report, when you talked about this ABS stuff to begin with, was that something that you actually believed was a factor at that time, or was that some kind of a deflection?
More of a deflection.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because I know it was quite a ways from the range where you did your calibration to where the accident occurred.
Yeah, and some time.
And some time, and the roads were wet, you knew it was kind of rainy. Did you do any kind of brake checking to see if the system was malfunctioning or not malfunctioning?
No, sir. Just based upon that it's done it on all the previous cars I've had, both Explorer model, the Silverado, when I was in the Silverado for a very brief short of time, and my old Taurus, the first one I had.
So this has happened to you before, where the ABS light comes on after that calibration, and it's never been an issue for you before that you had to worry about it kind of reset itself or the lights go off?
Yeah, the lights went off, and that's what I was expecting them to do. However, this time they just never went off, and so I was gonna get that looked at, but I was gonna, wait till the end of shift because I don't want to, tie up.
But there wasn't a huge major concern based on your experience in the past to the point where you wanted to brake check and make sure that you were going to stop.
Yes.
All right. And so then when you write in here in the actual report that you were, in the way it reads, driving in the area of County Road 435 and Creston Avenue, I was contacting D.S. Hoffman via my agency issued cell phone, and upon ending the phone conversation, I observed a light blue Toyota passenger bearing stopped in front of me, and the reason why it was a school bus, I applied my brakes. So the way that conversation reads is that you were on the phone with Hoffman. All right, man. All right, boom, bam. So that was a departure from the truth with that, because you knew you were watching inappropriate stuff at the time. Okay, so you admit that, and I don't like the word lie, but because the statute or the policy is departure from the truth, well, we know departure from the truth means lie. So at that point when you wrote that report, you were not truthful and you basically told a lie.
Yeah.
Or you admitted information that you knew was probably the cause or reason for the accident.
I called line by omission.
Right.
Know that one also well.
All right, so then let's go into when you meet up with Sergeant Walls, and then you tell him, yeah, I ended the phone call, and then I was scrolling through some text messages with group chat and Sector 3 guys, so that would have also been a lie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, and then you said you were looking at inappropriate material on your personal phone. So I know we're adults, and I have an idea of what you're saying, but can you be a little bit more descriptive or forthcoming?
It was like pornographic material, pictures of boobs and whatnot.
Okay, so no videos, it was just pictures?
There was videos on the site, however, I hadn't clicked on any that I can at least remember.
Okay, so but if I pull up and show you what I saw, you could tell me if that was a picture you were looking at or possibly a video?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get back to that. And then if we need to on the video, you were not wearing your seatbelt. It was
That is correct.
strapped in behind you.
That
Is that kind of normal operating procedure? I know probably since the accident, probably not, but before
since the accident, not. Before the accident, yes. I just believe from a tactical stance, even though I know we drive and do dangerous speeds, whenever I get on scene, I don't, we have this stuff. I don't like fighting the seat belt and whatnot.
On the road for 16 years, I understand what
it's
but it's a policy, right?
I
You have to
understand.
wear your seat.
Yeah.
It's also state statute. We're not exempt from wearing our seatbelt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just make sure you're
To
aware.
me, it's the vehicle's the worst coffin I could ever be in.
I understand what you're telling me. I think that was the other. So there was no group chat. You lied to Billy Walsh when you said that. You admitted that.
Yeah, that one
You
was
there
just.
before.
I was shameful at the time when I talked with Billy. After, during the conversation with Billy, obviously I knew the truth. Me and Billy have never gotten along, and I'll just leave it at that. And
Okay.
whatnot. So I know working underneath him for a short, brief period of time, incidents that happened in whatnot, just daily life stuff. And I know I don't really, in my opinion, and this is only my opinion, mine alone, I don't really care for him, as he can be very judgmental and hypocritical in certain things. So whenever we met up and talked about the situation, I was just very ashamed on being judged and whatnot with everything going on. And whatnot.
I understand, man. And I appreciate you being honest, man. That's the only thing I worry about, people coming in here and.
No, I experienced that and lost one of my really, really good friends due to this. So. And almost lost another. So I get it. I don't like to lie. I can't stand computers.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with computers ever since yesterday, including today. I have to go see IT after this.
Oh, you have the CIT training?
No, so yesterday, this is off topic from this, just conversation. I switched from the spare that I had after the accident into the new Taurus that they gave me for cat school because I kind of broke the Impala that I had. Mm-hmm. The driving made the light box have a mind of its own now. So then my lights started kicking on and kicking on the cameras. The gun lock was going off and whatnot when I was just driving it and I wasn't touching the box. It was just kind of just clicking at random times. And so I switched out to the new Taurus. And from that point, when I switched to the new Taurus, my computer wouldn't recognize the Taurus's internet. So then I went to IT after cat school, and then it wouldn't recognize any internet. So then they had to issue me a new computer.
What was when were you in the other accident, or was it for this accident?
It was for this one.
Yeah. Wow, you went that quick to cat school? Wow.
Well, the cat school that I just completed technically was a mirror versus a mailbox. Okay. Like 2-ish years ago.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you went that quick for cat school, that was pretty amazing.
No, they I honestly thought they had forgotten about it because I got the letter a long time ago saying that they recommend me for cat school.
So this is kind of the image we got when we kind of slow down as your phone is coming down, and you can see it looks like some kind of she's been over. Yeah, so those are just images. Just images. Yeah. But it was adult content photograph where nudity was involved and that kind of stuff. And again, you were looking at that on your personal phone. That is correct. Okay. Since I'll just, I guess for these purposes, since all of this stuff and this whole dramatic year has gone on, because after the day I was notified of the IA, I spoke with my lieutenant, Cameron Cruz, and I went home early as we had the proper staffing to be able to do that. And one of his stipulations for going home early, because he cares about us, is get in contact with Tim O'Brien. Okay. Another resource, and obviously I care about that side of it more than I do this side, right? He is an excellent resource, and then Erica McCain through HR, she has resources as well. So if you need to get someone sooner than later, then get you in quicker. Okay. Also, those whatever you guys. Okay, so if you need any of that, please reach out for the resources that we have. Okay, yes, sir. All right, man. I don't think I have any other questions. Is there anything else you would like to add to the record? No, just I guess more questions about the process after this. Okay, well, give me just a minute. I'm gonna step out for a minute, and I'll be back with you. Okay? Yes, sir. Sorry about that. All right, man. Is there anything else you want to add to the record before we're done? Pretty much good as far as this. Raise right hand. Everything you told me is the truth, so help you? Yes, sir. All right. You're good to go, bud. Go back tonight, and then as far as the way the procedure goes, I'll give the information to admin as far as what we talked about. And it'll be up to them to decide what they're going to do. Okay. So I'll do my report and get that done, present everything to them, and then they'll make a decision as far as discipline. Okay. Simple.
And then after discipline is when IA is concluded and can be discussed about whatnot.
Yeah. As soon as you get a final discipline, okay. It still goes in front of the sheriff to sign to make sure 100% that he agrees with everything. Once the sheriff signs it, it becomes public information. Okay. So at that time you can request the file, your wife, anybody can look at anything at that point. Okay. But it's not until he's done signing it. Okay. Which could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months.
Oh wow.
You know, I can't nail it down to his schedule. No, I can't say, Sheriff, you need to come to work so I can get you to sign this for me. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely understand it. Well,
thank you, sir. I appreciate you being honest, bud.
Yes, sir.